airport, wherever. And that's how it works.
So here we're looking at the government on one side and then the telcos on the other, being a huge part collectively together to resolve this.
Even mobile phones, when they're imported, the latest disaster had been that the IME number of the mobile phone, the whole batch of imported 5,000, 10,000 had one number, which doesn't work, which is not allowed. So at the stage of the customs, a random check of the sets can be done, because they do an inspection, all right? So even that can be done. Things have to be put in place. Information is being shared by officers of the intelligence agencies and security officers, whether they are of the army, whether they are the police, they're all security officials, all right? They had problem with data. First in Quetta, the chief of police said that we do not get information. The Chief Justice of the Balochistan High Court, right, gave an explicit order that no data will be refused to the police by the mobile companies, provided the information is requested by an authorized nominee of the Chief of Police, not lower than the rank of a DIG. Now, if you can't trust your DIGs, then what help you? Then that's your problem. So you better sack them. You better put them behind bars if they are a security risk. And same way, the Sindh High Court Chief Justice followed lately with that decision. So I don't see that, right? It's very convenient. I can't get data, so I don't need it, all right? Or the agency is resisting it. It's about time we put this resistance all behind our backs. And I think this is what Musharraf should have done in his tenure when he had no political misgivings to give him to, right? He should have put all the security systems into place, rather than just wasting all that time.
Given his background.
Given his background, given his authority, no constituency to answer, nobody to succumb to, So, and yet we didn't do it. So, at the end of the day, I blame him. Had we started off that time, within a year, I don't know, it's there. The systems get put into place in a year or two maximum. All the best systems in the world, right? And you've got good partners, you've got British, you've got Americans, you've got French, you've got Japanese, you've got all these people are willing to help you, right? And yet if you don't do it, then I think we have to be blaming ourselves. We're sending the wrong image. The whole world was listening on Eid days and all that. What were they thinking of this country? See, Farieha, that's scary. We are making investors run away from our country. We are the enemies of our own country. The tragedy is this. We don't realize how much damage it is doing. The amount of people would be thinking, what? It's difficult to even use a mobile phone in this country.
And is this their only way of handling a threat?
Sure. So I don't see it that way at all. And I see it's about time. You've done it once, fine, you don't need to do it again. You better get your acts together. You better be harsh on this. You better not have any compromises. And I don't see any such political misgivings on sharing of data and all that, right? The government was going into it. The present government of Jalani had even decided in FIA to form a body of anti-terrorism which would be looking into all these things. Centralized national data on kidnappers, terrorists, mobile usage, all this information to be shared at the highest level. All the data is recorded and computerized by CPLC. We did it from 95. So we have criminal data going back up to 50 years. Right? So, and that is shared. It is shared by the highest level. On the push of a button, you have all the information. I think it's about time we started using them. The problem is when we bring people into positions who are not qualified and not worth it. Right? When we don't hold them accountable, when we don't hold them transparent, then the problem starts. If the British police can preempt all the acts of terrorism after just one or two minor incidents, after 9/11, America has not seen any such action in the past 11 years. Such a big country, so many porous borders, so many illegal immigrants entering, yet they have managed to secure it. Why? Because now they have CIA, they have FBI, and they have Homeland Security, all sharing a common database at different levels. And they have made the country secure. So why can't we do it?
Oh, totally. I mean, it's pretty obvious that if you really put your head together and you want to do something in this country, it can be done. And picking on the theme of investment and the effects of this just backlog for say 12 hours. In the industry among security managers and counterparts in other companies as well, it was a major concern. Almost immediately, everyone was thinking, hey, what do we need to do? How do we get in touch with our people, whether it's expats or locals? We need to get the message out. Can we operate our facilities? How, if it's today 12 hours? And it's not just that. I mean, you've seen, and having worked in a regional role as well, I've seen that the loss of networks can cause chaos. I mean, Egypt was a prime example when mobile communication and communication in general shut down. And it was extremely difficult to get hold of people just to get help. It wasn't about passing on the wrong message. You just wanted to know if your colleagues were okay. As a security manager, you would want to be ensured that everyone in a company, in an organization, but likewise for your family, friends and family. You want to know everyone's safe, everyone's home, have they reached, have they not. So this is how it goes, and I mean, it worried everyone at every level.
This is also part of safety. I mean, here you're creating panic versus trying to preempt something from happening. But what could be the consequences of that kind of panic? It could go anyway. It could have gone anyway with the complete outage.
Absolutely, and I mean, you've got to understand as well, call centers as well, banks, outlines, other things, they're also using mobile technology now. They're not using
all the call centers, international trades.
They shut down. There was no way you could connect with, even if you had a fixed line or a landline, you could not connect with the bank if you lost your card. I'm not getting this access. So online banking was off. You couldn't call the helpline because they weren't available.
Problem sort of happens here is that there are greater things at risk, and that's sort of also I noticed some of the feedback to this from citizens as well. It's okay, the government did it for us. It was required. You get that too, and from citizens you get that too. It's not just the government saying.
It's all. I agree with. It's always a comfort for the citizens when they see that the government has come down for the security. I wish it would come down more often, day to day, when a lot of people are getting killed. Okay?
Absolutely.
That's the comfort that people want. Okay? By having incompetent systems and falling back on such systems where it inconveniences everybody and can be a national loss. We have been over talking of economic loss to the country. Okay? The systems could go bust. Okay? The people could withdraw the investments from here. Will that be okay then? For the people, I know. We are talking in national interest.
Today, and that's the point, today, mobile technology. What next?
Tomorrow
what else can you, so that the question arises then is that tomorrow something else is deemed, a threat to national security. That shuts down. So where do you put today it's mobile, tomorrow it's internet connectivity.
Which has also happened in the past.
You've experienced it's in limited blockages, but my point is, it's one, and if you don't have the capacity, then you build it.
CB radio is available, wireless radio sets are available, which does not need any company or anything. So let's hope for the best that the government would assess this.
My only concern since this blockade is, as citizens, that I don't hear that noise that I was expecting. Initial reaction was that people would go haywire and
outrage.
Whereas, and why is this blockade being done here? But honestly speaking, if you're talking, it happened. Good. Okay, it was for our benefit. And acceptance. No, why do you want to accept your rights taken away to live the way you want to know that you are in a culture, your family and friends out there? Why are you being denied that right? And everyone accepting it so openly. I have not seen the outrage that you've seen over other things.
Precisely.
And that's kind of, I don't know.
Complacency.
Also.
A lot of the channels and all were criticizing it and all that, but because it happened on Eid night, and then there was holidays for 3-4 days, so everybody was in a different mood altogether, you see, of rejoicing in that. So it got drowned. There were no newspapers after that for 3 days.
Exactly.
It got drowned this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'd hope that that's the only reason it's not kind of,
It
made a
it's
noise
quite
about it.
evident. Otherwise, it can create a lot of chaos.
But at the industry level, as investors and companies as well,
Massive hit.
Talk about telcos aside, the financial loss that they take. But it's not just them, it's also the government. Remember, for every rupee spent, 20% goes to the government.
Yeah.
It's 19.5% on every reload, every call, everything. So that's their revenue that also got hit. Substantial hit.
A lot of people just sort of dismiss this business argument because maybe they're not able to relate how it goes back down to them. Like how it impacts them. Exactly.
It is the future,
Yeah.
okay? So there'll be a lot of uncertainty that this can happen, like Norbert said. What if it happens again? What happens in the future? What am I going to do about it, right? How am I going to interact? How am I going to deal? Sometimes you don't have solutions here, okay? So let's move our business to some other place.
Which is what people will do
Sure.
and have done in the past. Because of this.
And this is where it is. That's the lines that businesses will start taking if this were to happen a second time. Quetta, unfortunately, the businesses have not been affected in that sense. But there are people who have been affected by Quetta as well.
Karachi is.
But Karachi shutting down. Again, it's not just about Karachi, it's the whole country. Why should we accept this? Systems are available. Employ them. Take the key stakeholders into, set out a policy, and it'll work. People understand threats. The common man knows that fear. Because what it did as well is that you had a number of people questioning, hey, should we actually go for e-press tomorrow?
And a lot of people did not go actually.
Shopping centers became
Deserted.
Yes.
deserted. It did a lot of damage. Otherwise, the last night is the biggest shopping spree
When they went
available, right? And that has really affected a lot of people, right? And which they should not. Then the other scare now, that they're thinking of closing down the prepaid. Thank God,
Which
some
is
clarification
yes.
has come, okay?
Yeah,
But then, by just saying they're not going to close the prepaid is not the answer, right? Prepaid is used right up to the grassroots level, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way you would feel like if you shut it down, it will be a disaster in the investment of the mobile technologies and all that, right? But then you need to really put what we have been discussing, things in order for the system to work and function and grow in a very healthy environment without being victims to acts of terrorism often.
These kind of speculations and then withdrawal of statements, we're going to do this, no, we're not going to do this also is making the economy fluctuate. Right? This is also creating so much instability with the statements that come out, like the prepaid, it's going to happen or it's not going to happen.
And the next interesting thing would be that the bombs are installed in cars, so I think we should call out the cars.
Yeah, this is what people say.
And you got a number of jokes on that line.
Exactly.
Cars, bikes, so you stop bikes and everyone starts walking.
Nobody is understanding
The light and
this is
maybe you all deserve to walk a bit.
We can all buy like President Zia went on a bicycle, so we can all go back into the bicycle.
Well, we should stop flying as well because that's how we went up.
So these things are there, but in a proper way, and I think we have the capabilities, we have the executives, we have the people, we have got good intelligence agencies who can really get good solutions and enforce them.
And this can be done very quickly, like you said, in 2 years in the systems.
Oh,
And
within 6 months.
And that's the underlying factor that when you know you are capable of doing these things and you had past examples of it being done, implemented at telco level, at other level, stakeholder level, the various suggestions. So then you kind of ask yourself that why was this last minute need to shut down? What was that massive threat? And like we said, we are now better for hindsight. Nothing happened. So if those bombs did exist, why did they go off? And why did the criminal or the militant or the terrorist detonate before or just as soon as they came back? Because people still flocked. Remember, they also cut down on parks. They shut down parks. Entertainment areas were shut down across the country. Arcade o'clock, and that's peak season. I was reading this. An article this week that the zoo had its highest numbers in Karachi visitors for years.
And then
But
the evacuation.
they also had an evacuation on the first day of Eid
Yeah.
because there was an alleged bomb which turned out to be nothing. But thankfully, at least they did that something. Again, that's a way.
People start doing pranks also.
Yes.
For harassment.
Exactly.
So this harassment factor also comes into place.
But we need to think of smarter solutions because again, shutting down the zoo, shutting down the park, shutting down telecommunications. I mean, shutting down simply is not the option.
No, because the intelligence agencies and the police and the army and law enforcement have done a tremendously good job in apprehending a lot of these terrorists. We have not been victims of such macro things which have been witnessed in India, Sri Lanka, and a lot of other places. Okay, and we have really managed to stay above, despite having a very big war going on our borders for the last 12 years. Right? Terrorism at its peak. Okay, so if they can do a good job, they can definitely preempt. They can always say that we hope that. I think we have the capabilities and we should do it.
So now, as we go into possibly an operation on North Waziristan and the country in high alert, what are your recommendations on this issue in generally? And what is it that we can do, and for the immediate now that can be done?
In these areas of Waziristan and all that, mobile phones are shut down already.
No, but around the country, instead of again adopting the same
They are not
measures.
available. Okay. The system should be, of course, the intelligence network should be excellent in deciphering the messages, all right, and zeroing it. Like technology is available, right, in all major cities, right. Zeroing in on the mobile usage of the mobile, making the agencies all very capable of detecting from where the mobile is being used, the locators should be in abundance, okay, they're put in place, the training is put in place, your emails have been checked out thoroughly, alright, you have gone through that also, that is also a very big security risk and a hazard, alright, which you have been overcoming, okay, you have overcome suicide bombers, alright, so the frustration is there, alright, you can go back into obsolete bombs, but these types of bombs can be planted anywhere, bus stands, buses, trains, God forbid, in so many places. So your main aim is to get these terrorists wherever they are, wherever they breathe. You need to infiltrate with them, right? You need to really break the backbones. So this is not the only solution that is available. You need that concerted effort, and you need really good committed law enforcement officers who are on this, who are entrusted this task, and they do it on a 24/7 basis.
Yeah, and rightly so. And again, an ID and improvised explosive device using cell phone triggers are only one type
Of threat.
You have timers, watches, and we've seen this over terrorist incidents in the past, where timers, clocks have been used, etc. So tomorrow, again, that's
the most authentic and most common.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that silly comment
Timers,
about,
yeah.
if we stop cell phones today, tomorrow we stop watches. Where does that stop? It's not a thing, it won't happen. But the point is, it can happen. So yes, you have curtailed and prevented maybe a bomb which would be triggered by a cell phone, but doesn't mean the terrorist doesn't know that, and you will not plan for the next one with something different, a different mechanism, or just stand by the roadside across and trigger it with a remote, infrared. There are various means of triggering these devices.
Yeah, this is not.
And so it's not the only one. So yeah, definitely. We have to think again, do we want to go this way? Because the impacts are dramatic. It's not just about an image of the country anymore. It's putting fear of God in people. To the extent where you have to actually think, do you want to go to prayers? That's a big worry where families will worry. That was the discussion that morning, that night. Can we support our family going out and whatever? Although previously it's have been targeted and had major communications targeted. That is there, it's understood. But this particular incident, that's what it did. Put this on focus on this.
Rethinking your life every step of the way.
It just undue chaos. That's what it was.
Okay, thank you very much both of you for being here with us.